I have two of the worst takes. You're not even going to believe it on abortion. This is maybe the worst. You vote. You're going to vote at home. This guy says, if you're upset about Roe versus Wade, the solution is very simple. Help Democrats win. I heard there was a sucker born every minute, but this is like every 30 seconds. If Dems control Congress, they'll pass legislation codifying Roe versus Wade, which will block red states from banning abortion. If Republicans win, they'll pass a national law banning abortion. Democrats, I don't know how to tell you this, Nate. Democrats already won. Democrats already won. They already have complete control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. And they're not doing a goddamn thing. They won't even get rid of the filibuster. Go ahead.
They had a supermajority during Obama's.
They had a supermajority during Barack Obama's presidency. The people go, only a month. That's long enough to codify Roe versus Wade. That's long enough to do anything you want to do, in fact, because you have a supermajority. So that means you can do whatever you want. And that's why you could do a lot of things fast. Imagine if Mitch McConnell had a supermajority, all the shit that they would have gotten through in 30 days.
Compare that to the Democrats now who just took a 2-week vacation.
That's right. So, and that's why this guy, I put this in here, this guy, he's a political strategist. This guy's a political strategist. He doesn't understand the first thing. He's a political strategist. Come on. There's a better shot of Joy Behar's sex strike helping save abortion rights than voting for Democrats, okay? Hey, if you want to get involved in Herbalife, you're less of an idiot than someone who would still give money to Democrats to fight for Roe versus Wade.
At least you'll get nutritional shakes
yes,
with your money.
You at least get something. This person, great response. No, the last thing you should do, if you vote Democrat, it will only get worse. Democrats have increased homelessness, started a new war, and told Americans they don't need universal health care. Only an idiot would vote for this to continue. Well effing said, Shauna Burley. That's what you're voting for. Okay, but here is the king of all bad takes. Now, why is this the king? Now, Kurt, I don't think you saw this.
No.
Why is this? Because you're going to say, Jimmy, wait a minute. She gets it right. Just hold on and let's enjoy.
This is the Democrats' fault. They let this happen. We let this happen. I mean, look at the majority that Obama had in
2009.
his first. Yeah, and nothing. The Republicans have been saying that they were going to do this for 50 years since Roe was passed.
Right.
They've been saying they were going to do this,
And they did it.
They did it, and they
Right.
did it, and they're not stopping there. This is just the beginning. This is just the start. So I blame the Democrats. Unfortunately, I'm voting blue, like I always have. But this is their fault. So what?
Well, baby steps.
Oh! So I'm not going to hold them accountable, and they don't ever have to do anything I want them to do because they know I'm a dupe and I'm willing to keep voting for them. The only way you can hold a politician accountable is to withhold your donations and withhold your vote. That's all you have. And if you're not willing to do that, then they're winning. And you're doing this, and you're telling me, and this is the same kind of person who will tell you Republicans vote against their own interests. I guarantee you she says that. I guarantee you she says that. And here she is. Unfortunately, I'll be voting blue because I'm not that clear of a thinker. Even though I know exactly what the problem is, I'm going to be complicit in the problem. Because that's what you're doing when you keep voting Democrat. When you know the problem. If she was dumber, if she didn't know, if she thought, wow, it's the damn Republicans, you could almost excuse it. But she knows better. She even knew that Barack Obama had a supermajority. Anyway, go ahead. Anybody want to talk about that? Anybody want to say anything about that? Because it's driving me crazy.
Is this LA?
Yeah, I don't know where that is.
She seemed pretty informed for LA.
Yeah,
I
can't
was
be.
gonna say maybe she's a Democratic consultant. At that point, you're an outcast if you don't vote Democrat, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Oh, good point.
Yeah, that's the real important thing.
And so I tweeted out this guy. So this guy here, this guy who says keep voting Democrat, that's how you get this done. I retweeted that. And I said, is this a real tweet? Right?
No.
And Kurt says, oh, you know what? He probably just forgot to put ton at the end of simple. Because he says, where's the simple line? Anyway,
The solution is simple.
he says, if you're upset about Roe versus Wade, the solution is very simple, ton. That was very nice. And then he forgot to put LA laugh my fucking ass off at the end. And then a blue check, Andy Kindler says, you're sickening, Kurt.
Andy got me my blue check. That's what's so ironic.
That's the ironic thing. That's the ironic thing. Andy used to be really funny because he would commit career suicide, and he would make fun of people in show business, people in power that could give you a job. And so everybody liked to go watch it because he made fun of the people who were giving people jobs in show business, and it was fun. And now
it's the best show at the festival.
It was a great show. And now he just hates on, if you don't agree with him politically, you're a bad person and a hack. That's what, and you're sickening because you don't agree with him politically. Which
I don't even know
sounds
if
like
I disagree. Yeah.
Some people would say that's narrow-minded. That's a really small point of view. That's backwards. Or conservative. But whatever. He thinks it makes him a good person. Go ahead, Kurt. You want to say something?
Well, it's not even. I don't even know what, aside from this nonsense of being giving your money to Democrats. So I'm probably not that different from him politically.
Of course, me neither. But he doesn't understand. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't understand how politics work. He doesn't understand the Democrats aren't actually fighting for you. He doesn't get that.
Well, him and 16 people have had it with me.
Yeah. So you did. That was a pretty successful tweet for you. I hearted it. And then he got 16 people to, he almost got ratioed on that. But he did get ratioed on this one, 25. So he goes, I mean, Kurt is sickening. Nobody is sickening him. Just despicable. So if you don't agree with him politically, you're despicable, sickening, you're white supremacist, you're all that stuff. You go, what did I thrice promise to codify Roe versus Wade day one of my administration and then not do it or something? First of all, great and very successful tweet. You ratioed the shit out of him. And he then comes back with this. He says, so ignorant he doesn't even understand that it's irrelevant to codify anything the Supreme Court can overrule. So that's the ultimate irony when you don't know what you're talking about and you call someone else ignorant. Isn't that funny? He does this all the time. He doesn't have any idea what he's talking about. He doesn't know anything. The reason why you codify a law is so that if the Supreme Court overturns their decision, the states can't then go and pass a law that's anti-abortion. So if you codify a law federally, that supersedes state laws. So that's why Barack Obama promised to codify it. That's why Joe Biden promised to codify it. Why would they promise to codify it, Andy, if it didn't mean anything? The reason is you're dumb and you don't know what you're talking about, as usual. You're funny when you're self-sabotaging your career, and when you talk about politics, you're way out of your lane, and you look like a moron that you actually are. And that's what this is. This is laughable. You're like a joke now. You're the joke.
I can't believe on such a throwaway, like I just happened to see her, is this for real? And I was in the middle of something. And I was like, oh, and I put set off. And I'm like getting a response. Like I just put like CP on Twitter. Like,
yeah.
Well, holy shit. All I did was mock the idea that they're fundraising right after they didn't deliver.
So here if this helps Andy understand it, let me give it to him this way. The legislation would use federal authority to invalidate anti-abortion state laws. So the states couldn't pass anti-abortion laws if it was codified. It makes clear no state government shall enact or enforce any law, rule, regulation, standard, or other provision having the force and effect of law that conflicts with any provision of this act. That act being the one that codifies Roe versus Wade into law. So I just explained it. Now he can go and pretend he doesn't know. And I'm sure he'll be apologizing to you and me like he did last time he came at me. And Andy Kindler realized he was an asshole. And he fucking sent me a DM saying, I'm sorry I was an asshole. So I think he's bipolar. And he goes on these tears. I know other people who go on these bipolar tears, and then they apologize. So that's what Andy Kindler's probably doing. He's on another bipolar tear, and then he'll apologize later.
Well, he was always my friend. What's amazing is, just as you were saying that, I just realized the thing he's mad at me for making fun of is a tweet claiming they're going to codify it that he thinks cannot be done.
He thinks that cannot be done.
He needs to go watch that How a Bill Becomes a Law video that they show in grade school.
That's right.
I thought that the first response to you, Kurt, from him was a joke. Like, I thought that was a joke tweet. I thought he was just being sarcastic.
Yeah, no, not a joke.
He doubled down, tripled down.
No, and in fact, you know how it's not a joke?
That's why I didn't answer it right away.
Look at this one, Kurt. You see this one? Block everyone who defends Jimmy Dore. Anyone who sarcastically LOLs is blocked. He doesn't sound unhinged at all. He doesn't
understand how law works.
That's a guy who's like, you know the Jack in the Boxes, but right before, that's where he is, right there. He's just about to pop, and then he got real edgy and he blamed Ralph Nader.
No,
he's still flapping his old white man gums. What a creep! He calls Ralph Nader a creep. Anyway,
why is he white racist against Ralph? Like,
he's white racist. Another white guy.
Andy,
you're also white. I don't know if you know that.
You're flapping your old white gums about Ralph Nader.
Well, that's called projection. So a lot of that, almost every insult he wields is projection. And that's another one. He's an old white guy flapping his gums, and he's upset he doesn't sell tickets. No one wants to pay to see his comedy. And that's why he lies on Twitter. He goes, I'm glad I don't do the road anymore. No, you don't do the road anymore because no one will fucking buy tickets to see you because you don't know how to entertain people who don't know inside baseball on show business. And that's the mark of a comedian. Mark of a comedian is being able, you could drop me in the middle of a room in the middle of Nebraska and I can entertain those people for an hour. Andy Kindler could not.
I always loved his stuff, but I am inside baseball.
Yeah, I love it too because there's a guy who spends his whole life writing jokes about show business and comedy that nobody else gets unless you're in show business or comedy. It's not hard to play to that kind of an audience. It's fucking easy, and that's what it's so good. But it's very funny. Don't get me wrong.
The only thing that
it's like telling jokes to your friends. They all know your references. They all know the inside lingo. That's not hard. Doing comedy is. There's telling jokes to your friends. Then there's telling jokes to people who don't know you. Then there's telling jokes to people who don't know you on stage. Those are the three levels of fucking comedy. And to get to do that last one, that's a hard one. And that's the one Andy Kindler could never pull off. He could never make a room full of people who didn't know him laugh.
But he was called, like, the thing that bothers me, you didn't have it on there. This is the only thing about, because it was so insane, I don't even hold it against it, but he started calling me edgy. I'm like, what's the edgy? I literally just pointed out a thing that is true. And not even, like, that's crazy to say that I'm being edgy by just pointing at.
No, this is edgy. Going after Ralph Nader is edgy.
Based on his race.
If you know how the judicial system works, you're very edgy, Kurt.
But I'm still going to enjoy Andy's comedy. I'm not going to let his douchebaggery keep me off his I'm still going to watch his comedy. He's funny.
He's not playing anywhere.
No. I mean, no. I mean, you're right. I know he's not playing anywhere. But like, he does that thing at Just for Laughs. If I see that, that's always funny.
Yeah, he always used to put me on it on his old show.
It's always funny because he's making fun of shit that we all know about and no one else makes jokes about it. It's very funny. So anyway, but this is what happens when he stops talking about show business. When he stops talking about show business and comedy, he ends up being a complete douchebag asswipe. And here's let me give you this. Democratic electoral strategy. Let bad things happen. Campaign on fear of worse things happening. Let worse things happen. Campaign on fear of even worse things happening. Let even worse things happen. Campaign on fear of even worse things happening. Let even worse things happen.
Sickening. The sickening, despicable tweet.
Sickening, despicable. But so that's what it's like to be in comedy, Jackson. If you wanted to know. Let me. You know what? I want to play that Barack Obama and Joe Biden video. So this would be fun. Play for our friend Andy. Here, Andy, tell me why Barack Obama said this then.
Well, the first thing I'd do as president is sign the Freedom of Choice Act. That's the first thing. Now, the Freedom of Choice Act is not my highest legislative priority.
So now Andy will watch that and get mad at a voter.
Yeah, it's weird that Obama said that because it is Andy's highest Twitter priority.
Yeah, he'll get mad like an adult child of an alcoholic. Maybe Andy's an adult child of an alcoholic. He doesn't get mad at the person who said this shit. He gets mad at the person who points out that Barack Obama said that stuff. And that's what an adult child of an alcoholic does. And maybe Andy is, so maybe we should feel sorry for him. He comes from an alcoholic family.
I mean, I'm not concerned.
I am. So here's Joe Biden doing the same thing. Watch this.
I would send immediately to the desk of the United States Congress when I'm elected president, if I'm elected president, a codification of Roe v. Wade amended by Casey.
But he didn't do it. And they won't get rid of the filibuster to help it or any of that.
He can still do something now, right?
Yes, they could still do something right now. Yes, that by the way, that bill passed the House. And now it's in Senate. Here's what Amy Mann also says, to quote a friend of mine, we fight the battle in front of us with the cards we have. The battle is an election in 5 months. Everything else is noise.
There's only noise.
There's only noise. We already elected every Democrat you could possibly elect. They run the entire government. They always have. I mean, when this situation came up, Barack Obama had a supermajority. He didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. They could have done this. You don't see that you're being played. You don't see that they have nothing else. Okay. Here's some more bad takes. Robert Reich, let's get one thing straight. Freedom doesn't mean you have the right to recklessly endanger others by refusing to get vaccinated. Also, I don't know who needs to hear this, but every person should have control over their own body. Those seem contradictory. And then he wrote this. Now, who is this guy and why does he matter? Because he's a very popular Democrat blue check guy who gives you a head fake that he's a progressive, but he's not. He's one of those guys to trick you into voting Democrat, even though he works for the military-industrial complex in Wall Street. That's who Robert Reich is. And how do I know this? Well, because I've been watching his career. He was the Secretary of Labor in the Clinton administration. And then he wrote an op-ed where he said, Liz Cheney for president. You think I'm kidding? He said, I trust Joe Biden's steadiness and judgment, and if he runs again, I'll back him in 2040. But today, I want to suggest someone who isn't even a Democrat and whose positions on many issues I suspect you strongly disagree with, but who could possibly be the best president of the United States for the perilous time we're in. That is Liz Cheney. Guess what Liz Cheney says? Liz Cheney says, I've always been strongly pro-life. Today's ruling by the Supreme Court returns power to the states and the people of the states to address the issue of abortion under the state law. So he's all for her. These are the people. Do you understand? These are the people you're voting for.
She really wants to get Wyoming back after this January 6th thing.
And right now, Democrats, as you know, always try to get the Green Party and any third party off the ballot. You know that, right? They did that in Wisconsin, and they're doing it right now in North Carolina. Dylan says Democrats are trying to remove leftists from ballots and trying to sentence a journalist to life in prison for publishing evidence of war crimes, all while aiding and abetting genocide. But we should vote for them because they pretend to support abortion and LGBTQ. Yes, that's all they have. That's it. That's right. Why do you think they never codified abortion? Because they've got nothing else.
Mm-hmm. And it's a very simple question, and they knew it was coming after Sotomayor's clerk leaked the draft opinion on the Roe v. Wade decision. They knew this was coming for months. Why didn't they do anything?
They did nothing. They knew it was coming. But, you know, the people like Andy Kindler will tell you it's your fault, that you're disgusting. Justin Trudeau invited American women who want an abortion to come to Canada, but They're not allowed to come unless they get vaccinated first. So you have to give up your bodily autonomy to go have your bodily autonomy. There's nothing better than that, is there? Come on. All right, so there you go. That was fun. Kurt, you're sickening.
I said I was hoping to have saved up enough for an electric car so I could give a shit about January 6th by now. And that was a whole thing.
July 3rd, we're doing a live show in Los Angeles. And then we're going to Chicago, Sacramento, San Diego, Bakersfield. See you there. Go to JimmyDoreComedy.com for a link for all our tickets.